Now he says here, a very important, deathless body. Divine name you can understand. He does not say immortal body. He does not say immortal, he said deathless body, which is not touched, which is not affected by death. What does death do? The presence of death means the presence of falsehood. Death means presence of falsehood. So when there is deathlessness, it means that there is no falsehood at all. It is only truth. He does not say immortal. Immortal means there can be still falsehood. The gods are there, they are immortal, but then there is falsehood also here. So there is a distinction between deathlessness and immortality. In fact, we can say that, see, immortal means he is permanently there. So deathlessness means if you want to withdraw, you can withdraw and you can reappear. Deathlessness would mean both. If you want to die, you can die, but you are not subject to death. That is what deathlessness means. You are master of death, you see. You can take whatever. Now, immortal cannot do that. So the word here is deathless, very important in that sense, you see. And all that is because the Word who is seeing all that thing. Now, all this knowledge has come to Ashwapati as a part of his spiritual growth. He has gone through all these stages. He has crossed beyond the mind, mental. He has got now higher grades of knowledge entering into him. And with those grades of knowledge, what does he see? Yes, tomorrow there will be a divine manifestation here. There will be a divine manifestation. That is the knowledge he has already received. Now, incidentally, I will say all this description which you have got here in Shivandu's life would belong to the period roughly 1908 to 1910, as early as that. The static oneness and dynamic peace, I told you, was already in 1908 in Baroda, January 1908, and maybe July or August, so in jail, when he was in jail in 1908. So, static oneness and dynamic truth, he had already that knowledge with him, you see. In that. Now, with those faculties here, his mind has become silent. The gods and goddesses are appearing in front of him. Dakshina, Veeda, Saraswati, Mahi, all these gods of perception, discernment, intuition, inspiration, they are appearing in front of him. All that has started happening right in the beginning at that stage itself, you see. So, the knowledge has already come to him at that point. Not only that, we shall see in the jail itself, maybe again around, I will say July, August or so, about that time, the spirit of Vivekananda used to appear in front of him, and almost for a fortnight, he used to appear in front of Shivandu and point out at the star up there, a golden shimmering star, the supramental star. Vivekananda may not know, but he is pointing out that golden star up there. In other words, that knowledge has already come to him at that place. And as a result of that knowledge, what does he see? Yes, there is a purpose in this creation. It is not false, it is not illusion, it is not dream. There is a reality in this creation, and it is that reality which has to emerge in the true sense. And the emergence of that true sense means the appearance of a divine manifestation. So, out of that, the whole thing has to emerge. So, this sentence particularly, as we have been seeing, is in fact the summary of all his realization as early as that time. Immense realities took on his shape. He sees the whole panorama, sees the meaning, the purpose of the creation. They are looked out from the shadow of the unknown, the bodiless, nameless, and they saw God born, and tries to gain from the mortal's mind and soul a deathless body and a divine name. As I said, from the mortal's mind. Now, it is only possible when the Manomaya Purusha has appeared. The possibility of a deathless body and divine name comes into realm of realization because the appearance of the Manomaya Purusha. The mental being has appeared on the scene. Now, beyond the mental being has to appear the Vijnanamaya Purusha, the being of knowledge, of Gnostic knowledge, you see. He has to appear, you see. So, that knowledge has already come to him now. That the mortal's mind is not the last stage of evolution. It is an intermediate stage of evolution. And as I said later on also, man is the link between the animal and God. That has to come here. Deathless body and nameless divine name appears realization. Realization becomes possible only with the appearance of man. Now, why this bodiless namelessness is there? In the void, because he has to get a form. He has to get a divine name. In other words, form and name essentially stand for a new creation, divine manifestation, you see. That is what you have otherwise God, you see. The immobile lips, the great surreal wings, the visage masked by superconscient to sleep. Superconscient to sleep, you see, this is the third step, third letter of Om, Sushupti, superconscient sleep. Visage masked, so the whole face is covered because of that sleep, you see. In other words, it is lying there in the form of seeds present there, not opened out, not manifested, you see. The immobile lips, the great surreal wings. Well, you see, actually, if you see a statue, the lips are immobile, but the statue is full of power, full of expression, radiating peace, radiating energy, radiating life, radiating the powers of the spirit itself, you see. The great surreal wings, the eyes with their closed lids that see all things. Shiva is in his trance, closing his eyes, but he sees everything here. Appeared of the architect who builds in trance. So he is there, and because he is there, that a divine name and a deathless body can appear. That is the part of the architecture in the entire design of the scheme of things, you see. Now, great surreal wings. Surreal. You see, the general dictionary meaning of surreal is hallucinatory, the quality of a dream, unreal, fantastic. Surreal. That is the general meaning, you see. Or it is a kind of an oddly dream-like quality. Dream-like quality. Surrealism means dream-like, moving rapidly, without coherence. You cannot connect things in the dream. The scenes are changing so rapidly, you cannot really connect what is happening here and there in the dream, you see. Incongruous juxtapositions. That is what you have got in dreams, you see. This picture and that picture don't really match, but then they are there in the dream, you see. Irrational reality of a dream. So that is the irrational reality of a dream. Irrational because the rational mind cannot understand. Therefore it looks to it irrational. But it is a reality of the dream itself. Unbelievable. Now, surrealism in France started as a cultural event in 1920s. Basically, in the field of paintings, surrealistic art. Now, what does surrealistic art do? I mean, it tries to see the reality which is there behind the artist kind of things. They look incoherent, they look irrational and that kind of thing, but then they are juxtaposed in such a way that as if there is a reality behind them. There has to be a reality behind them. That is why it is surrealism, about reality, that experience. Surrealism. Now, this surrealism, Shebanu says, I will read some passages from here, is a cultural movement which started in 1920 to express the unconscious. Well, they don't know the levels of consciousness, but then they started expressing them, see, to resolve dream and reality into an absolute reality. Yes, there is a dream reality. There is a reality also what you see here in our waking consciousness. In other words, it is trying to connect the waking consciousness and the dream consciousness into one reality, which is what they call surrealism, you see, waking consciousness and the dream consciousness. To resolve dream and reality into an absolute reality, super reality. So that is the absolute reality, which is beyond the dream and beyond the reality, factual things. The reality here in the sense of factual thing, what you see with your waking eyes, you see, into a super reality or super realism or surrealism. And this is the phrase which is coined by, well, not really coined by him, but it's the movement started by Henri Breton in 1920 in France in terms of paintings, you see, Henri Breton. Surrealism, all things considered, that is what Apollinaire says, all things considered, I think, in fact, it is better to adopt surrealism. Surrealism, something which is about dream and reality, it is better to adopt that surrealism than supernaturalism. Supernaturalism has no reality at all, really. It can be just an imagination, pure psychic automatism. Based on the belief in the superior reality of certain forms of previously neglected associations, in the omnipotence of dream, in the disinterested play of thoughts, it tends to ruin other psychic mechanisms and to substitute itself for them in solving all the principal problems of life. Now, Shebanu writes in a letter in 1937, he says, surrealism is a new phrase invented only the other day. 1920 is the only other day, you see. A dream poetry making a deeper truth, a deeper reality than the surface reality. Than the surface reality means our waking consciousness, in that sense. The dream has something deeper in that, and then it says, it is a poetry, surrealism is a poetry based on dream consciousness. It is part of an increasing attempt of the European mind to escape from surface consciousness, which is a very good thing, to escape from the surface consciousness and get after a deeper truth of things, which is not on surface. Dream consciousness is not merely what we see in dreams. He says dream consciousness is not only what we see, but behind them there is a kind of a reality, what we see in dream. But it is the inner consciousness in which we get in contact. Normally we don't understand that. The dream are really trying to convey something of the inner consciousness, you see. Get in contact with deeper worlds which underlie, influence, and to some extent explain much in our lives. What the psychologists call the subliminal or the subconscient offers the first road of escape. The subliminal, the subconscious, is the first road of escape from our surface reality, from our waking consciousness. And the surrealist seems to be trying to force it. True dream poetry. But now Shebanu says, you are really going, this consciousness, this attempt of these people, well, they have opened out a new door, all right, but then they are rather plunging into the subconscious, not into the higher realms of dream or superconsciousness, subliminal consciousness, you say. Subliminal in the sense that superliminal. Not subliminal, but superliminal, you see, in that sense. The true dream poetry has and always must have a meaning and a coherence. Dream poetry is full of images, visions, symbols, phrases that seek to strike out things too deep. So when you say a surrealist poet, it means that he is striking out something very deep, you see. For the ordinary beings, this is a special kind of poetry. There is a sequence, there is a logic, there is a design. It is another kind of poetry. He writes on 12th February 1937 to Dilip Kumar Roy. See. Dream consciousness is a vast world. Dream consciousness, because later on it comes in contact with the inner consciousness. The dream consciousness comes in contact with the dream inner consciousness. So when he says the great surreal wing, you see, you talk of the inconscience, things are happening. A dragon, it is described as the dragon. So that is the surrealism image. You don't really connect it. But what you see there is not just a metaphysical term, inconscience, but it is a dragon of the dark foundation. Inconscience, the dragon of the dark foundation. And from that things are going to happen. There is the Upanishadic, the Vedic Rishi speaks of, see, already that early, these people had surrealism. 10,000 years ago, the Rishi speaks of Satchitananda with the power of knowledge, Satchit Ananda Vijnana, all the four. He is a four-horned bull. He describes Satchitananda with Jnana as a four-horned bull. These are the four horns. Satchit Ananda Vijnana are the four horns of the bull, the creative energy who casts the seeds of creation. So already that image when you talk, Satchitananda is a four-horned bull, Vrishabha, bull. I mean, Chatushringa, he has got four horns, these four horns. So they have already created a kind of a surrealist poetry of a very higher order, of a spiritual kind. He's talking of that thing. The immobile, the great surreal being, the visage masked by superconsciously, the eyes with their closed lids that see all things appear of the architect who builds in trance.